Hello, everybody. It is your girl, your chocolate smoothie on Sistah-talk with Valerie. We are brought to you by Armstrong International Media for the collective and for the culture, and also by Untapped Music Radio, which we can be seen every Friday at 7:30 and a replay at 6:30. Untapped Music Radio and Armstrong International Media. Aim for the culture and for the collection. So I'm very excited tonight, y'all. I'm like ready to bust out my skin because I have my best, best, best friend in the whole wide world here with me. Her name is Donna Deedee Williams. And let me tell you something, ladies. There is nothing like having a best friend that you can take off your mask with, that you can laugh with, that you can cry with, that checks you when you need to be checked, hug you when you need to be hugged. If y'all ain't got one, y'all need to find one because I am so thankful to God that I have one. So, without further ado, please welcome we call each other Poopy. That's right. We grown ass women calling each other Poopy. That's right. We call each other Poopy and welcome Donna Deedee Williams.
Hello, my poopy do. You talk about how excited you are. I'm so excited. I'm here in Rhode Island and we miss you. We miss you. Virginia got you, took you from us. And I'm just excited because I get to talk to my poopy
I
and,
know.
and just experience this. This is a part of your life that, I finally get to experience. It's great. So
It's so
thanks for
wonderful.
having me.
Let me tell you something. Miss Donna Deedee Williams is an advocate. She's a community advocate, but she's also an artist. She's a poet. She's a writer. She's a filmmaker. Donna Deedee Williams was doing films and writing before I could even think about it, right? She has done some fabulous, marvelous work. Remember the girls?
The girls, yeah.
The girls. Tell them about the girls.
So I'm gonna have to bring that. I'm gonna have to give life to that again. I'm gonna have to breathe some life in that because as I look around today, I see there's still this issue around women and their body parts, and especially breast. And when we're talking about breast, we're talking about, it could be anything from breast cancer to any kind of issues with your breast, how they came, how come I don't have any and everybody else has some. And so every woman, young woman, old woman, every woman has a story about her breast. And I just, wanted to get that down in writing and have people express their stories and tell their stories, because I know I had a story about my boobs for the longest time, and wanted to share that with my friends and wanted to share that with other young women so they could understand that they're not the only ones that have those issues. So a real dear friend of mine, his name is Don Mays. Hi, Don. Say hi to Don, Val.
Hi, Don. Hi, Don.
A friend of mine named Don Mays, who was my photographer, said, let's do this. And so we started to meet with women and record their stories and take pictures. And we really had a great time. And women really opened up about what was going on with their breasts and how they got their breasts and what was so beautiful about their breasts and what they didn't like about their breasts, and how scary it was to find out different issues with their breasts. And so it was really it really was a powerful time for me. So like I said, I think I have to breathe life back into that again.
It was very powerful. I remember when Don did my shoot, and so originally I was like, "Oh my God, he gonna take a picture of my boobs? Like I don't like that." But Don is he's that type of dude that makes you feel comfortable.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, I felt so empowered when I took the picture. I remember even when I came back home talking to a local news reporter from the Richmond Times Dispatch about this project called Girls, and I had it. I used to have it. She wrote about it in the Richmond Times
Yeah,
Dispatch.
I have it. I have the
You have it?
Yes, I do.
Oh my God. let me tell you, women were so beautiful. It was like, all the different sort of poses and all the different facial expressions. It was such a powerful project. I'm like, that's what I'm saying. My poopy got like her mind works, it expands. She has all these creative juices and stuff. I want you to get that project. That project needs to be started back again.
Yeah, and that project led to me writing a lot about you know more than our body parts. So women are more than their body parts. And so instead of allowing somebody to put you down about your butt or your breast or your even your hair, just to really think about what that means to you and how beautiful it is, and walk in it, and think that you're more than that. You're more than just your body parts. You are you are kind and generous and loving and strong and resilient and all these other things that women are. And they're not just their butt, their breasts, their vagina. They're more than that.
But that reminds me, I remember there's this thing called the Vagina Monologues that talks about like that empowerment of women. But especially, I always say today, but you know what? I can't blame everything on this is what's happening now, because it takes all of us to sort of come together to create sort of this vibe and environment that is so hard. It feels like women are objectifying, they are objectified, but also we objectify ourselves, right? When you think about the story of the women that is getting these butt implants, look, I was like, Poopy, I was like, listen, I wish I would have knew that people was paying all this money for butt implants, because I got enough butt, I could have sold some butt if that's, what I'm saying? But even when you think about K. Michelle, who went through that horrific
Oh my God.
ordeal and almost died getting
Yeah.
butt implants, and now she's an advocate for women really just embracing themselves. We almost, because I did it for so many years, tried to fit into this package of what beauty is supposed to be. I struggled with my weight all of my life, right? So went through these up and down spirals about weight loss and being a certain weight. Like if somebody, I don't care, if somebody said you could lose weight and you jump up and down 10 times and take this pill, I was doing it. Okay. Give me that pill, I'm jumping up and down 10 times. Because it was just like whatever I need to do quickly to look the way I wanted to look. And it's like, it's such a disservice we do to our young women, because if our more senior women don't get to the point to where we embrace ourselves, everything, flaws and all, how are we going to teach our young women?
Exactly. And you know what, the sad part about it too is that we are so caught up in what we're supposed to look like or what we think we're supposed to look like, that when we look in the mirror and we see ourselves, we can't even recognize ourselves, and we don't want to recognize that in which we see in the mirror, right? So even me today, before coming here tonight, I looked in the mirror and I thought, because I was telling you earlier how I cut my hair, and I was like, I'm talking to my hair and I'm saying, no, you better not act up tonight. Now, I got to be on. And so I'm trying to fix my hair. But in actuality, as I'm sitting here, I could care less how my hair looks, because I really want to value the time that we're spending together right now, and not trying to trip on whether or not my hair is in the right place, or whether or not, I have enough makeup on or whatever. I'm done with that. I'm 58 years old. I'm done with all of that. Right now, I just want to appreciate that I have time with my sister right now. So I'm going to be in this moment with you, and I'm not going to trip on whether or not, I'm looking this way or looking that way. And I think that's what we get caught up in. We get so caught up in how I'm supposed to be and how I'm supposed to look, and how that we forget these precious moments, like right now, like us talking together right now, and being in this moment, so.
I wonder what, oh, my sister Terry said, hey.
Hey, Terry.
I wonder why though. Why? Like, I think about one of the reasons why I'm so transparent is because when I'm being transparent, I'm ministering to myself, because I go through a whole lot of ups and downs. It's a constant affirmation. You can get to a season in life where you feel like, okay, I've arrived, I've learned, I've grown, I'm where I'm supposed to be. And then something will happen that'll just take you right off that mark. Like you'll be like, dang, I thought I had passed that test. But it is what is innately inside of us. Somewhere, some things were planted in us that is hard to shake sometimes.
Well, first of all, we have to think about the trauma that we have endured in our lifetime, right? All that trauma that we have endured has informed us to be who we are, to act the way that we do. So the trauma is really pushing us in the direction in which we're going. And unless we deal with that trauma, we're really not going to be able to say to ourselves in those moments, it's okay. It's all right. Like, get over that. That's why we have sisters. That's why I'm here. So when you're tripping, I can say, girl, you tripping. Shut up. Like that, what's going on with you? Like, no. And that's the best part. But imagine those who don't have that. What do they do, right? And they're in their trauma, and that trauma is enforcing. It's just informing them to go in that direction. And so they go in that direction, whether it's getting those butt implants or getting lip injections, or whether it's using drugs and alcohol, or whether it's sexualizing themselves. They go in that direction because they think that's what they need to do to feel good.
Yeah.
And those of us who have arrived at this place, even though we still hit that mark sometimes, those of us who have arrived at this place of self-awareness, this place of healing, we need to be able to say to those who are not there yet, it's okay. Mm-hmm. Don't do that. Baby, please don't do that, because you are beautiful and strong just the way you are. And we need to help them to know that. And instead of, well, you look ugly and you need to lose some weight. And no. We need to build people up and not kill them.
Right. And that is why I'm so grateful, because that's that part of sisterhood I think we don't talk about enough, right? Mm-hmm. That we tear each other down a lot. Look at her. I know she thinks she's cute, or why she got that on, and or will let us look terrible and not say, you got a booger on your nose, sis. You know what I'm saying? Like, will let us be straighten my crown, but not as you won't straighten my crown. You're gonna knock my crown over because we're in competition.
That's right.
Society puts us in competition. I think, Poopy. Society does a lot of that, putting us in competition.
Absolutely. Because how else are they going to capitalize on it? How else are they going to make that money? They're not going to make that money if they can't put us in competition. So we're always striving to beat one out, keep up with the Joneses. How else are they going to make their money? So they're going to tell us that our hair needs to be straight. So we're going to go and get all kinds of straighteners. It's not straight enough. Now you got to straighten it this way. It doesn't look like, so now you done with all the products. Now you're buying the wigs and they putting them out on the market. So get this straighter hair and you'll look better than this one. It's all a marketing scheme. It really is. It's capitalism at its finest. And that's why I say, just let it all go. Leave it all alone. It's never, you're never going to be that person. You are who you are, and just be who you are and accept that. It's hard enough trying to accept all of this, accept all of this, and then once you accept all of this, then you can say, well, I've arrived at this place of healing.
I always talk about, how we need to come together as a community, as a people. But you know what? I kind of think that I'm a little bit off of that train now, because I know that I believe this. I believe that there is never going to be an answer to things like racism. I believe that we are so, the system is so embedded in us that they don't have to do anything else to us. You know how they talk about that passive income, that you can make money while you sleep? Well, you can destroy Black people while you sleep, because we already have done it to ourselves. Like all the things we talk about in terms of empowerment and feeling good and empowering women, as a community, we are so wounded and hurt and so tired of trying to explain it and so hopeless. And COVID, I think, added, I still say we deal with post-traumatic stress, that we so like desensitized. That's why we can kill each other. Like, that's why a black man can kill another black man, or now children, and think nothing of it. I don't think that we're going to be able to come back from all of this.
Well, you know, you know my saying. Like recently, I've been on this kick about the evolution of blackness, right? So this is the evolution of blackness. This is what's happening. This is what has happened ever since we got sold or betrayed and captured in Africa and brought over here on those ships and then sold and raped and all of those things for all of those years, all of that trauma that we have faced during that time, it is what is informing our path now. And so now that we are going forward, we told our generations, I want you to be better than I was. And that's not what we should have said. What we should have said is, I want you to know exactly what I've been through, because when you go through something like this, you'll be able to lift yourself up out of it. Instead, we said, I'm not going to treat my children the way I was treated, or I'm going to make sure that my children don't have to suffer like I've suffered. Well, guess what? Now your children think they don't have to do nothing. Now your children feel entitled. And because they feel entitled, now they are now doing what Master did to us. They're doing it to themselves and to their other community members. And the reason why they're doing it is because they learned that. That's a learned behavior. And we've learned to do that now to ourselves because it's internalized racism, right? So we internalized all of that. Now we know how to do it. And we're doing it to ourselves, and we're doing it to our communities, and we're doing it to our people like never before. So, I'm a Baltimore girl. I look at my city and I get so sad, because that was a proud city. But the pain is in that city now. And the gentrification that's going on in that city, and how they are taking the people who have been oppressed and suffering in that city, and how they're just ignoring them and making them invisible, is really painful. It's sad. It really is sad. But that's the evolution of blackness, right? That's how we're evolving. We're striving to be white. And I don't know why, because we're never going to be there. And we need to concentrate on what we can attain on our own. And not try and get something that somebody else had and said is good. It's like somebody else tasting something, saying, this is good. We go, that's good? Okay, I'm going to go taste that. That must be good. No, it ain't good. It might be good to you, but guess what? It ain't good to me, because I don't eat stuff like that. Let me tell you, I don't eat that.
I like what you say, because we have this conversation a lot about assimilation. And so it takes me back to when I was growing up. So in the 60s, I lived in a predominantly Black neighborhood. We had everything that everybody else had. Nobody could tell me that anything was different. My mom was this type of woman that she was going to live where she wanted to live, and you was going to respect her. And then there was this big push for integration. Mm-hmm. So when you talk about assimilation and us wanting to be, I need to have, they set the bar. You need to have a college education. You need to, get married, have 2.5 kids, buy a house, have the white picket fence. You need to be able to run in the circles that we run into, right? For me, that's what integration was about. But we were people fought and died for equal rights. Mm-hmm. And rights ain't never been equal. People misconstrue equity for equal. Equity is not equal. Equal is when, I love the depiction that they give of 3 little boys.
I love that too.
I love it. They got the same height, and they're trying to look over the fence. Well, they can't look over the fence because it's equal though, but one of them might be shorter or have a disability or whatever, so it's not equitable. But no one told us enough the difference between equal and equity.
And you know, we are a people, you know, that so much has been taken from us and so much we have given freely, and we are a people, we are a resilient people, and so we have survived all of this stuff that has happened to us. It has taken its toll on us, trust me, but we have survived so much of it. So it tells me that we can get back to that place where we had hope, where we had a life where we cared for one another, where we took care of one another, where we were there. We built community. Remember that? We built community. You talk about, you know, your mother and I can just imagine your household, right? I wasn't even there, but I can just imagine. I can imagine the family members that came over. I can imagine the card games, the spades, slamming the cards down on the table. I can imagine the music playing in the background, some Marvin Gaye or some Al Green. I can imagine that. I can imagine the smell of food cooking, you know, and the dance. Oh, you don't know nothing about this. I can imagine that because I lived that, right? I lived that. And anybody who was back there in those days lived that life like that. They lived that life like that. And they also had hope for the future. They had hope, and they knew that there was going to be something. One day we was going to get over, right? They sang that song, we're going to get over. One day we're going to get over, because they had that hope and that promise. Today, you don't even hear nothing about that. You don't see that kind of community anymore. You don't see that kind of, even families now are not families like we used to be. But we can get back there. We can get back there.
We can, but it's going to take a lot. Hey, Mom. She said chicken frying. I know that's right. The best kind of chicken there is. When you couple the fact that, see, back then, you're right. There was a hope. There was community. Now, yeah, you know, I don't think young people can even relate to what we're talking about. They might say something like, "Oh, we have cookouts." No, we're talking about where the whole block, everybody in the community came together and bartered. If you ain't have bread, you can go across the street because Miss Jones had some bread. She was watching them kids. We ain't get but so out of line because you had to apologize to your mama and Miss Jones. You know, we played kickball, the whole block. Like, we didn't fight. You can't do a lot now because people scared somebody gonna pull out a gun and shoot somebody. Back then, I wish a nigga would. Like, you didn't do that. You honored and you had reverence for adults, no matter who they were. And now, because of so many things, like, you know, I know you can't trust everybody because all these pedophiles have come out. People don't want their kids around adults. You don't have this whole community feel because you don't trust your neighbor. You don't like your neighbor. You don't know your neighbor. So I don't know how we can get back to that. I think we have to individually, you and me, you know what I'm saying, and the people we love who is about that, can start that sort of movement. But we're not even nice to people anymore. Let alone, I'm gonna be honest, I can't tell you that I know everybody on my block because I side-eye people because I don't trust everybody. I think I've grown into that.
You know, I just moved into this house, and the blessing that I got from moving into this house was, it's the day that I pulled up to move my things into this house, the woman next door came out of her house and she said, "Welcome." Another sister now. She said, "I just want to say welcome. If you need anything, just knock on my door. I'm right here. Anytime, day or night, I'm right here." And she introduced herself to me, and she said, "You know, hopefully we'll spend some time together when it's not so cold outside." I said, "Okay, that's wonderful." And you know, I came in the house and I thought, wow, I'm back in where I belong, right? Because I lived in North Providence, which is a predominantly white neighborhood, for so long. And people in North Providence, if they came outside, they was calling the police on you. So You need not think that they was coming outside to welcome you. They coming outside to tell you you don't belong there, right? So when she did that, I was like, yes, I'm back in the neighborhood where it's good, because that's what happens, and it doesn't take anything for us to do things like that. If somebody's going through something, go bring their family a meal. Like, I know we're struggling ourselves, but what does it take to make some soup or something, throw something together and bring it over to somebody's house because they're going through something? We're all struggling. So come outside yourself and do something. Don't ask why it's not happening. Make it happen. Make it happen. We can't sit back and say, I don't know why it's not happening like that, if we're not willing to do that. And a lot of us is waiting for the church to do it. As a minister and an ordained pastor, I'm not waiting for the church to do it. Nope, I'm not doing that. I'm going to do it myself, because that's what's in my heart to do. So if it's in your heart to do it, then do it. All those things that you can be doing to help somebody else, do that. And don't worry about whether or not you get your name in the paper or you get an award to do it. Just do it. And that's how we come together.
DJ Robert Jacobs, DJ Bilal. Hey, DJ Bilal. My sister Terry says we have to build neighborhoods. We have to start from the beginning, create our own. And I'm with her. Like, my sister is building a neighborhood, acquiring some land and building a neighborhood. Jehovah Jireh is what she calls it, right?
Amen.
Mine says community and everything. When I was coming up, I did not need a babysitter, exactly, because the community, the neighbors took care of me. The neighbors made sure I did my homework, took my bath when it was time for me to go to bed. I remember Miss Williams came and brought me my grands. I don't have my glasses on. Brought her grands over till my mom got home from work, and my mom did the same for her. That's how we helped each other. Tania Smith. Exactly that feel. And I'm with my sister. My sister's like, listen, I'm not gonna wait for anybody to do this for me. So we're gonna acquire some land, we're gonna build a community, we're gonna come together. And my sister, I'm telling you, her faith is so strong. I think that I'm with her, because I'm like, that's my sister. What you want to do, I'm with you. But there's a pessimistic side of me that has grown. Like, I wasn't always like this. I was this, kumbaya, everybody, love the world. But I have grown pessimistic, because there's so many tricks of the enemy out there, right? There's so many tricks of the enemy. And I'm like, God, I just, please sort of help my heart and help me be aware of the trick of the enemy. I think for me, that has a lot to do with being disappointed and hurt. Maybe that's what it is.
It is. It's being disappointed and hurt, and also it's being tired. Because if those of us who have been around for a while doing that, trying to get people to do the right thing, and at different points in our lives, we're like, oh man, I'm tired of doing that, But so Terry is going to give you a booster shot on her side. I'm going to give you a booster shot on my side. And anybody else who's out there that can give Val a booster shot to pick her up from that place of, not wanting to do it, let's do that for her, because we all have to be in this together.
True that. And so let me tell y'all something. I'm going to give y'all a quick background story. Me and my poopy, years ago, we had talked about doing a talk show together, and we were going to call it That's Just My Opinion, because, we get together and just talk about everything. So this is a little snippet of That's Just My Opinion, brought to you by Armstrong International Media and Untapped Music Radio. So let's talk a little bit about politics. We had this long conversation before about I only want to approach the Will Smith thing, but we were talking just a few minutes ago about politics and government and the war that we need to mind our business about. What's your take on that?
Like I said, we thought that we were the superpower. So we ran our show that way. That's how our government, pulled out all the stops. We was like, no, you can't do that because we're America and we're bad and we'll come back. And well, we can't do that anymore. Because first of all, we owe China so much money. We owe so much money to all of our allies that we're in debt to our allies. And we get so many things from China that and so many things from other places. We know there's nothing made in America anymore. I remember growing up and everything, we used to have this commercial, look for the union label.
Yes.
And everything was made here, and we had unions that supported people and that, and those are the things that we took pride in, right? Those things are not happening anymore. The factories have closed down. You know why? Because people don't want to do those kinds of chores, as they call them, anymore. You can't get anybody to work in a jewelry factory. You can't get anybody to do factory work except for those who come here and who are brought here as refugees or immigrants. They come here and they want to do that work because they know what the American dream is. So they come to attain the American dream, right? But people who have like third, fourth, fifth generations who have been here, they no longer want to do that kind of stuff, right? So we don't get any textiles from here anymore. We're not getting nothing that we have here is from here. Like everything is brought over here, right? So of course we're going to be up in arms about it, because if there's a war over here, that means we suffer. So right now, there's the war in Ukraine, between Ukraine and Russia. We're suffering because they're a major oil distributor here, right? So people wonder why their gas prices have gone up. We're in a war. You wonder why your food prices are going up? We're in a war. Even though the war is not taking place on our land, it's taking place in our pockets. And we have to make sure that we start to do things here. So learn how to grow your own vegetables. Learn how to do that. So you get in that soil this summer and this spring, or if you can't get in the soil, get in the books and find out what grows well where you live at, and do so and make some above ground pots, because sometimes the soil is so messed up we can't even use our own soil anymore. Get some above ground pots and plant some tomatoes and see how they grow. Plant some cucumbers and see how they grow, and then share them with your neighbors and begin to barter like that. If you grow the peas, I'll grow the string beans. If you grow the collard greens, I'll grow the lettuce. Begin to do that, so that way we can do that, because we're not going to survive. Because even after this Ukraine war, we still have to think about another election is coming. And we have not even dealt with the fact that after this election, there was some stuff that happened. We're still trying to deal with January 6th. We have not even dealt with that yet. So that's a war that's still underground, underbelly, that's happening here in these United States. So there's so much happening with politics. Look, that's why I don't even watch the news no more, because it just upsets me to think that our world is in such a raggedy place. And I'm using that word raggedy. We're in a raggedy place, and it's a shame, because we're supposed to be in a better place than we are, but we can't get there because we done sold our soul. We done sold our soul.
And we're numb. We are numb. And if we continue to be numb, like, I feel like we're walking around just in this lull, because distraction will do that to you. I think there comes a time, like you said, when you become so overwhelmed with all of this stuff and politics that's happening in the world that you're ill. It makes you sick. I feel the same way. Like, it's time, like, I don't even want to see that on the news. I don't want to see one more person get shot. I don't want to hear about any more wars. I don't want to hear about high gas prices. I say that to myself because I feel overwhelmed. Now, part of me says, but you got to know what's going on in the world, Val. You have to be aware of the enemy's devices, right? So I have to monitor how much TV I watch. But I think a lot of us are in that place of like, man, ain't nothing going to change. It's just, you know, same SSDD, same stuff. We can't do nothing about it. We don't have no power. Just got to go with it because that's what it is. Yep, the only news is bad news. Dee is given forewarning. Take heed because something is coming much worse than the pandemic, and we must get prepared. Yeah, and we were talking about the pandemic, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was saying all of this stuff that we have heard about the pandemic, all this trauma, all this, oh my God, we got the Omicron and this is happening. And then all of a sudden, overnight, it's like, poof, yeah, it's gone. We're good. How is that?
Well, Big Pharma made their money. The big pharmaceutical companies have made their money, so you know that's all they need. That's what they needed, you know. So we had fast track vaccinations, right? They all got fast track testing. We all had, so they made their money hand over foot, right? Where is that? Where did it go? Like how has it come back to our community? How has it come back to help people? Like, so yes, we got tested, but that was paid for. Trust me, our government had to pay for that, which means we had to pay for that, right? We got the vaccination. Trust me, the government paid for that. We're going to have to pay for that. We're paying for that. So don't think that it's free. Oh, they're giving me free testing. Oh, they're giving me free. No, it's not free, boo-boo. You're going to pay for it one way or the other. Trust me when I tell you. And so, yeah, the pharmaceutical companies made their money. You know, our government said, oh, you have to get, it's mandated. You have to get it. So everybody was running around. You need to get it and talking to each other bad if they didn't get vaccinated and making people feel bad if they didn't get vaccinated so that everybody could make the money that they needed to make. And then they cut out companies that they needed to cut out, right? So these companies can't really make the vaccine, cut them out. And the big pharmaceutical companies that had the political well-being made their money.
And then, well, it wasn't everybody, because there was some people that was protesting about, I ain't gonna wear no mask because you are messing with my rights. And you know what this really said to me? Now, you know that I had nothing for the ridiculousness that was in office, right? The Trump ridiculousness. I had nothing for him. But when I look back over some of the things that he said, it was nothing but the truth. You can't be that ballsy without having some inside information.
Exactly.
And a lot of what he said, I think about now, I was like, oh, okay.
That's what makes him so asinine, is because he knows, right? He got dirt on people and dirt on situations, and he knows and he uses it for his benefit. That's what makes him such a narcissistic ass, because he has that kind of, you know, insight. And, you know, he's seen that, you know, he's seen all that stuff and how it plays out. He knows how it plays out, but he wants to use it for his own best interest. And that's where he goes wrong. That's not a president. A president doesn't know all that stuff and use it for their own best interest. They use it for the betterment of the people in the country, but not redhead or orange hair.
I haven't seen a president that, I liked Obama. He made me proud. When his election came, I was very proud. I was proud that he was a black man. I was proud of his charisma. I was proud of that. I do believe he could have done a little bit more for black men. But one of the things that I'm recognizing more and more, like there was an African American in a place of power in Virginia, in the state that I live in. And I remember saying, I'm so disappointed in him because he ain't did nothing that he was supposed to do. But what I realize is that even when we think someone has put us in a position of power, we got to fight to stay there. And people sell their souls to stay there. You know, people sell their souls when they feel like they've arrived, not to go back. I think that's why we don't do a whole lot of, some of us, reaching back or don't want people to know where we're from, because we want to maintain whatever we think we've gained, which is
Mhm.
nothing.
And you know, the other thing about Obama is that, and about presidents as a whole, that, you know, our presidents are figureheads. You know, they have to have the okay to do things. And if they don't have the political will, they can't move anything. And everything, that's why I knew, even before Obama got into office, I knew what it was going to be. Because you can't put a black man in office, not in this white world, you can't, not in this white world, and expect him to move things. No, because everything that is in these people who are so afraid of black power, everything that's in them will tell them to do whatever they can, short of killing him right on the spot, to do everything that they can to hurt that man and to get that man out. And they did everything that they possibly could. But the thing that I love about Obama and Michelle is they stood there with grace and
Mhm.
endured that nastiness, because they went after their children, they went after his wife. You know, they called her a monkey. Come on. You know what I'm saying? So these are things that would have never happened to a white president, but they were allowed to happen to a black president. And so when you see things like that happening, you know that man had very little power, because he had very little political will. Once he got into office, all those people that said that they were going to be there for him, they owed too many other people. So they had to back off. You can't owe somebody and put somebody in power. Because just like I always tell my friend Karen, who is a white woman, don't stand up for me, because when you stand up for me as a black woman, that target's also on your back. So all those people who stood up for Obama had the target on their back. And when it came to their families and their money and their power and their thing, they backed off and didn't support him because they couldn't.
Yeah.
So when he was pushing things ahead and when he was doing things, that couldn't be done. It couldn't be done. So I tell people all the time, I had an argument with a guy when he said, "Oh, Obama sucked and he didn't do nothing." I said, he couldn't have. That'd be just like any one of us running for mayor in our city or town. As soon as we get there, there's so much that comes from that. You know, it's a mess. We couldn't do it. So
I think that's was a lot of people who, you hear people talking all the time, like you said, about, oh, Obama should have did this or this one should do that really don't understand the political process,
mhm.
really don't understand like who really runs things. And I think people thought, okay, I voted for him, he in office now, fix everything, make it all right. It don't go like, you got a whole Senate, you got a whole House of Representatives that strategically blocked everything he did.
Everything, and threw a shoe. Like, I mean, really, like, called the man a liar, and like they would have the things that Congress and everybody did. Everybody from the Senate to the legend, everybody, all the people that were against him, the things that they did. Had that been a white president, they would have come up on charges. But because that was a black man, they didn't have there was not even any question about it. There was not even a question about it.
And unlike Trump, who had people in his pocket for years before he got the office of president and could pull every card he wanted to pull, Obama didn't have that. And if he did, he wasn't that type of dude to share they dirty laundry. But Trump knew, look, I'm gonna do what I want to do, and you gonna back me, and you ain't gonna say nothing, and you gonna go along with it, because I got all your dirty laundry right here.
And that's how he became president. Because nobody that's stupid, and I said it, he's stupid. That stupid should have become president. Because that man don't know nothing about nothing. He don't know nothing about nothing. All he knows is, I got some dirty laundry on some people, and I'm gonna go ahead and use it. And whoever I need to tell me how to run this government, I'm gonna tell you. You're gonna tell me. So what am I supposed to do here? Did you read that? What does it say? Should I sign that? That's how he was. He was like a kindergartner in 5th grade. He didn't know what he was doing. He didn't know what he was doing.
But people better be cautious because he might be coming back around.
Oh, child, he trying.
And he might make it.
He got the money.
The thing I love about the Obamas was that there was no dirty little secrets to come out and shame his family. Well, Trump was a product of his environment because of the way his family made their money, and Trump was playing it as a distraction. I could say a lot about Trump. But here's my thing about like dirty little secrets. I got a lot of respect for the Obamas because they lived their life aboard. I'm sure they knew what they were going to come across. They probably said, let me check. Now, was what I do on September 17, 19, let me make sure everything is straight. But there is so much unfair judgment of people. They got to be perfect. Nobody else has to be perfect.
Nope.
Everybody is looking for somebody to be perfect. And I want to spend like the last 15 minutes talking about how we judge and see each other, right? Because that bothers me. Like, even people of God, not even people of God and people of God. Like, I love God. We here. That's my dude. I'm his baby. But there's so much. I always say this. I think people sometimes feel that they're not even good enough for God. And they hear other people give them. I'm gonna tell you an example. My grandson said to me, we were talking about religion, and I was talking about relationship. He said, Grammy, he said, it's not that I don't believe in God. I just feel like religion gives you these standards that you could never possibly live up to. I feel like I will be constantly trying to live up something that I will fail at. And he has this failure syndrome. And I said, baby, that's because someone has told you wrong. The relationship has nothing to do with these standards that you have to live up to. Even people in Christianity should tell the truth. You don't have to keep crucifying Jesus. He already did everything. He already washed away the sins. That's what the Bible says. Anything you do, I could say, I'm sorry, please forgive me. Accept him, and that I'm good. But people live like there's these hoops that they have to jump over to be good enough for God. Now, as a minister, because that's Valerie's feeling about it, but you're a minister, Poopy. Tell me what your thought is about that.
Girl, you hit the nail on the head, because for me, it is about relationship, but not just any old kind of relationship. It's the best relationship, right? It's the best relationship because it's a real authentic relationship. Ain't nobody asking you to be nothing but you, right? When you come to God, you just be you, and that's that, right? So excuse me. So you don't have to pretend to be anybody else. You don't have to fix yourself all up. You don't have to have somebody bless you to have forgiven you for something. You don't have to do any of that. He says, come as you are. That means right now, in that state that you're in, you go and say, I'm having my relationship with God. God, me and God got this. This ain't got nothing to do with none of y'all. This is between me and God. But religion would have you to believe, and especially when you're talking about dogma, when you're talking about the way people look at religious, I have to be very careful, because I want to make sure that people understand, when you're talking about every little time you've gone into a church and somebody is standing at the pulpit talking about people in a way that will make you turn right around and go back outside and want to die. When you're talking about religion that hurts, when you're talking about the kind of religion that puts people down and oppresses people, when you're talking about the kind of hurt that makes people not feel good enough to ever go back into a relationship with God, that's what you don't want. That's what you want to stay away from. That's the kind of thing that makes you say, I can't believe that anybody could ever believe this, anybody could ever want to be a part of this. Because how do you stand at a holy place, at a pulpit, and talk about God's children when you know in God's word it says love thy neighbor as you would love yourself? That didn't say love only some people who come when on time to Bible study, or only the people that give that knows how to tithe. It didn't say that. It said love, right? All people, all his children. So I just feel like if you are going to brick and mortar church and they are not teaching about love, and I don't mean love this one but don't love that one. I don't mean sometime love. I mean agape love. And that's the kind of love that comes without judgment. If they're not, and it comes unselfishly, right? And unconditionally. If you are going to a brick and mortar church and they're not talking about love in the way that God talks about love in his word, you need to get up and leave. And you need to come back to your house and you need to do Bible study and do it by yourself and learn the word. It says study to show yourself approved. So you can study all you want. You're at your house, in your bedroom, by yourself, or with your mother, or with your brother, or whoever. You can do that, and you don't have to go to that church to do that. So build a relationship with God so that you'll know what his word stands for and what it means for you in your life. And let me tell you, I've come to a place in my life that no longer will I be bound by any church like that. I can't do that no more. I can't do that because it was stifling me, and God kept saying to me, why? I didn't put you in a ministry to do this. This is not why I got you here in ministry. I put you in ministry so that you could open the walls for my children. I put you in ministry so that you could love on them, not so that you can stand and look like, oh, I don't know who you are, because when it comes down to it, I'm not going to know who you are if you keep doing that. I got to answer to God. So guess what? I'm done with all of that. I'm done with all that. And it says, judge not, lest ye be judged. So all those who are sitting in judgment, all those who sit in judgment will be judged. The only judge is God. He's the true judge, right? So I was going to a church and they started talking about the gays. You heard me right. The gays. And I was sitting there and I said, did he just say? I looked around because I couldn't believe he said the gays. I said, did he just say the gays? You know me, Poopy. I was like, did he just say the gays? What did he say? Right? So my husband with his crazy stuff, he said, he did say the gays. Well, what did he mean by the gays? I said, listen. Later on, I pulled him to the side and I said, Pastor, I said, you were talking about the community, the gay community. I said, from now on, you really should say the gay community. And let me say this to you. You're talking about the gay community, but yet and still, and you're saying it's a sin, but yet and still sin is sin. And you have a man sitting in your pulpit that beats his wife, cheats on her, and don't feed or take care of his children. And those are all sins. But yet and still, you can sit there and talk about the gays. I said sin is sin. There's no degree of sin. So if you're going to sit in judgment of the gay community, you need to sit in judgment of that man that's sitting right there next to you that you hold so high in regard, that's going home and beating up his wife. You need to do that too, because he's sinning too. Oh no, I didn't mean like that. That day, I haven't gone back to that church because I'm done with all of that. That's why we have such church hurt. That's why we have people who are lost, who don't know where to go, who don't know the answers, who are afraid to even trust God, because so many people have hurt them with the church. It's like they beating them over the head with the church. No, 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 no. God is love, babies. God is love. He only wants to love you. He only wants to love you. So just forget about all that you've learned, that somebody has told you, and just let God love on you. Let God love on you. Get in his word and let him love on you.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I think we need to say that louder, especially this time that we're in. This time that we're in, so many people have lost their faith. So many people are angry at God because of something that a human being has done. Like, I'm telling y'all, I talk about God like I do because of what he has done, what he does for me, like every day. Like there is no way I can look back over my life and not see his arm, his love, his heart. He doesn't have to do it. I know ain't no man on this earth. One of the most powerful and moving scriptures that I love is Job, because God talks about, what I'm saying? I'm bad as I want to be. If you want to question me, look, who you? You put the stars in the sky, huh? Can you create the ocean? So when you get bad like that, then you can come in and have some conversation with me. That's my like the ghetto version for me.
Yes,
because he reads them. He don't even read them in a harsh way. He just says, "Let me show you who I am." Now, when you got accolades like that, Joe, then we can have a conversation. And that's what I mean. Like, but he still loved them. He still took care of them. He still gave them double for his trouble. And that to me is like, we need to know. We need to know, y'all. I mean, no matter what kind of trip that you on, there is a supreme being in yourself. And guess what? You get to share some of that supremeness because that being lives inside of you.
Hello.
And if we operated in that thought process, would be nothing that we couldn't do, because there would be no racism, because we wouldn't even allow that, because every time we walk down the street, the glory would be draped all over us.
Hallelujah.
You know what I'm saying? We would walk in the authority that we were given.
Yes. I don't even care. I don't care what your practice is. I don't care who it is, how you get there. Just get there. I don't care if you're Muslim. I don't care if you're Buddhist. I don't care if you're Jehovah's Witness. I don't care what it is. However you get there, just get there. Just get there and know that your God is going to love you. Your God is going to be there with you and for you. Your God is going to take you to a place that you have never been before. And that place is a place of strength and a place of courage and a place of empowerment and joy and love like you've never experienced before in your life. So,
And don't get it twisted, because the people that tell you that when God comes into their life, everything is peaches and cream and everything is rosy and I don't have no trials and tribulations and I've overcome, they lie. They lie and the truth ain't in them. Because most of the time, the closer you get to God, the more you see that enemy. It just makes sense, y'all. Check it out. There's always an opposite and equal reaction. Good and love, evil, right? We can sit here, and evil ain't got to be Charles Manson, because I know that you can relate to sitting home sometimes, minding your own business, and all of a sudden thoughts come in your mind. And they don't have to be thoughts to hurt somebody else. They could be negative thoughts about yourself. They could be negative thoughts about somebody else. They could be depression. Those are spirits. They could be, I just don't care, I want to give up. They could be, I'm going to go out here and hurt and rob somebody. They could be, I'm going to talk bad about somebody. Those are all spirits. That's the opposite of love. And if it's the opposite of love, then something is engineering that I call the enemy.
Yes.
So it's about, we have all these things inside of us, the good the angel and the bad angel. What counteracts that is bringing in that spirit of love, believing that we are who God says we are, that we are fearfully and wonderfully made, that we got somebody that has our back, that lives inside of us, that we can do all things. It's not always going to go the way we want it. Trust and believe. Let me tell you something. I'm going to give this testimony. I have been for a year trying to purchase a home. For a year. Doing everything that I'm supposed to do. Did everything, line it up. And to me, ain't no reason why I should just, I should get this house, right? I had a blemish on my credit. I told the loan person when I applied for the loan, this is what it is. Oh, no worry, we got you. I paid for an inspection. I paid for an appraiser. I was 2 weeks away from closing on my house. And the loan officer called me up just as cavalier and said, yeah, we can't. I had boxes, still do, in my living room. And he said, we can't approve your loan. What? I already gave notice. I mean, I was in shock. Like, what? Like, what? And for 24 hours, I was jacked up, like mad, angry. I was mad at God. I mean, me and him had a conversation. Like, look, because I'm telling you, I'm being transparent. This is how I talk to my daddy. What was that? What you doing? Like, why would that happen? I did what I was supposed to do. Why are you doing this? What, did I did something wrong? Like, I'm mad at you now because I'm mad because you knew how hard I worked for that. This is what I'm saying to him. And I'm so distraught. I'm crying. I talk to my sister. I go to my girlfriend's house. When I walked in her house, she started ministering to me. She said, you know that God is working for your good. You know that. You know your Father is good. Let me hear you say it. And I'm so like, because in my mind, I felt like, I know he works for the good, but maybe he just mad. He don't want to do it for me, right? Because we have those times, and I know he does for me. I know what he does for me. Talk to Deedee. This happened 24 hours. I was messed up, y'all. And the next morning, I woke up, and he said a lot of things to me, but one of the things he said to me is, look, get yourself together because you got too much to be thankful for. You ain't homeless. You ain't even got to move if you don't want to. You living in the house, girl. Because I give you. I mean, God blesses me. Like, y'all, I can't even express how much God blesses me. You just in abundance. You know what I'm saying? You healthy. You got beautiful children and grandchildren. You got a roof over your head. You got people that love you. Get it together. And trust me. Because I ain't playing. And I was like, okay. Just like a little kid. I don't want to keep failing the test because I want to pass, right? He said, chill. Do what you can do. And whatever you can't do, I got you. Now, I'm going to tell y'all how this story ends next week. But let me tell you the little God thing. At the same time, I noticed that I had gotten this email from a lender that I had worked with before. I didn't pay no attention to it. Okay. God said, look at your email again. You so distraught. You ain't even looking at blessings I'm trying to give you. Okay. Oh my God. What? Hey, this. All right. He said, all right, calm down. Call him tomorrow. Okay. I called him. Had a whole conversation. And they said, I think we could do something. Don't give up the fight. I think we could do something. Call him. And so I got a conversation. I have a call with them actually Saturday morning. But and in the meantime, God said, go look for an apartment. You don't want to live here, go find an apartment because you can live with. I mean, it ain't like you ain't got nowhere to live. You want to stay here, stay here. You want to live somewhere else, go look for something else. He said, have a plan A, B, and C. And he had to talk to me like that so that I could remember, because it's so quickly we forget. Like, we forget. Like, what I forget about you. I know I can forget. Like, it's so good to me. I got a nerve having a temper tantrum because why? Valerie didn't get what Valerie wanted when Valerie wanted to have it.
Hello.
That's all it was about.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just thankful. And as I get older, now listen, my poopy will tell you I can go through some meltdown temper tantrums. But as I get older, they're less and less. And I recognize quicker and I bounce back quicker. And that's all we can do, is the best we can do. And remember, how good God is to us.
Amen. Amen. That's right. He's so good. Girl, don't start nothing. Don't start nothing.
Girl. Well, look, oh my God, we are at our hour. I have so enjoyed this, y'all. My let me tell you something. Donna Deedee Williams, y'all need to Google her. I'm just trying to tell you, because she is an awesome, fabulous, beautiful Black queen that has so much talent and so much that she gives the world. So y'all, I'm telling you, y'all need to Google my poop. I know people in high places. That's what I'm saying. So I want to thank y'all. I want to thank y'all that joined us. My sister Terry, it ain't about you, boo. That's her favorite saying. It ain't about you, boo. I know, Terry. I want to thank y'all for joining Sistah-talk with Valerie. I am your chocolate smoothie, as always, Valerie. This has been brought to you by Armstrong International Media, aimed for the collective and for the culture. And please check out Untapped Music Radio whenever you got a chance. They be vibing. They play all kinds of old school music, play hip hop music, play bebop music. Check it out. It's your online music radio station with flavor. So until I see you again, which will be next Tuesday, hopefully, if God willing and the creek don't rise, this is your girl, Sistah-talk with Valerie. And thank you, Poopy, so
I
much.
love you, Poopy. Thank you.
Thank you. You have blessed me and you blessed the audience. Y'all, I love you. Have a great Wednesday. Bye-bye.
Bye.